Please welcome on stage Eva Abrams, moderated by Eva Hughes.
Ok. Hola, hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Ah, ese es el espíritu, me encanta, me gusta mucho. I am so happy to be here today, another edition of Latin American Fashion Summit. And I really want to, give a warm welcome to an inspiring leader and a true powerhouse of luxury, Eva Abrams, the president of Kering Americas. And doesn't she look fabulous, by the way? You want to hear a little bit about her? You want me to tell you? A little bit, un poquito? Look at my Spanglish. Growing up in Miami, this is our official language. Well, Eva is the driving force behind the growth of Kering's iconic portfolio of brands, and I don't have to name them, but just a few, right? Gucci, Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, Bottega Veneta, across North and South America. But her impact goes beyond business growth. She's more than just a leader. She's redefining luxury with a commitment to ethical leadership and a legacy of purpose. And you all know how much we believe in purpose, legacy, leadership, and making a difference. Throughout her career, she has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to excellence and a profound desire to making a positive impact. From her role as Vice President and Chief Compliance Officer at Tiffany & Co. to her position as General Counsel of Kering Americas, where she established the company's first pro bono legal program, she has consistently navigated new and complex challenges with grace to drive meaningful change. Eva's mission extends beyond business success. She serves on the board of the Kering Foundation in the Americas, co-chairs Kering's Women in Luxury Network, and is a passionate advocate for women's empowerment and professional development. She exemplifies what leadership is all about. It's not only about being a more formidable leader, building teams together, but also doing it with grace and being beloved by the people that work with you. Eva, again, welcome.
Thank you. Well, first, thank you so much to Laughs for having us. This is an incredible opportunity, first time for me to see this amazing event. And thank you so much, Eva, for that extraordinarily generous and kind introduction. I'm humbled and embarrassed by it, but thank you. You stole my word because I was going to call you a powerhouse. Eva and I had the opportunity to meet yesterday and walk around the event, and the minute we left the office, it was as though she was a magnet for everybody here, coming up to her, greeting her with hugs and thank yous. So I really, appreciate and admire the work that you do, and thank you so much for that kind introduction.
Thank you. So let's jump in right now. Let's talk first about your career journey, because it's really inspiring. And you went from law and compliance. It sounds boring, but it's not. It's not at all, okay? But you think law, compliance, to leading Kering Americans and that amazing portfolio. So can you take us back to the beginning briefly and explain a little bit what your role entails today?
Sure. So I wouldn't say that law and compliance is always very exciting. So there might be a little boringness in there too. But I've always really gravitated towards the fashion world and industry. I've always been somebody that's been fascinated by it. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I was going to end up in the fashion industry. So a little bit of my journey is circuitous, or I allowed myself really to kind of take opportunities. In fact, I started off as a paralegal at Tiffany & Company when I was in law school, and it was just a means to sort of understand company culture and understand a little bit of the fashion industry through the lens of jewelry. And over time, I took experiences within that ecosystem to grow my skill set. And I think I was just very open to new experiences, new practice areas, and with that curiosity, I think it kind of fueled my development. So when I moved to Kering, it was an amazing opportunity for me to kind of move away from a little bit of the boring compliance part of my role and sort of reignite the commercial roots that I missed as I had progressed in Tiffany. So with the Kering General Counsel role, I had the opportunity to build out a legal team in Kering Americas and really learn the business from the ground up. And I've been very fortunate to be in places that have both a Tiffany and a Kering that have cultivated and helped me grow my curiosity through learning. And through that journey, basically learned the business and was able to kind of pivot to the business side, which is really sort of a dream. I can now call myself a recovering lawyer and know that I've moved on. So it's been a wonderful confluence of experience and also luck and opportunity.
Give us the scoop on Kering. Tell us a little bit about what's the story behind the group. I'm sure people know here, but just in case, from your perspective, and also how it has grown to what it is today.
Yes. So Kering has a very interesting history. As Eva mentioned, we are a luxury group that cultivates and manages the development of these 11 incredible luxury houses, our maison, and also Kering Eyewear and Kering Beauty. The roots of the company actually started in 1963. The father of our founder, Francois Pinault, the current CEO is Francois-Henri Pinault, his son, started actually a lumber company. And over the decades, over 60 years of development, diversified into retail, and then ultimately over the last 24 years began to narrow into luxury retail. So very, very interesting history. And I think that sort of diversity in business has helped to cultivate the diversity of culture that we have in our group, even though now we are a pure luxury group. And actually the name Kering, which was established by the group about 14 years ago, is supposed to sound like caring, like to care. That's really the basis of the group, which is so beautiful because it sort of creates the foundation for all the work that we do. And the KER is actually a nod to the Brittany region of France, where Francois Pinault first started his company, and it means home. So there's a lot of thought and intentionality around the name, which I think gives you a signal of how important that sort of culture is within the group.
How many of all of you here today come from a fashion background? Okay, so now another question is, who doesn't come from a fashion background? Okay, a couple of hands. So Eva is a testament to what you can do, and many times people that don't come from that fashion background and jump into the field may feel a little bit insecure, right? Do you feel insecure sometimes? Like, I don't belong here? No worries. Our lawyer is going to change that forever. I see a new law coming. So give them some advice on how to jump into a new industry and feeling comfortable about it.
Yeah, I think one thing, when you're pivoting into a new industry or a new role, the mind will make you feel like you don't fit, that you don't belong, you don't fit in, you don't know enough. Well, the reality is that people even within the industry are going to feel the same way. And I think, we have men and women in the room, and often we talk about imposter syndrome and just the idea of, not quite being allowed to be in certain spaces. But I think if we acknowledge that everyone, men and women, have that shared experience, have that shared feeling of a little bit of self-doubt, we can overcome it. Overcoming by trying new experiences, embracing curiosity, being willing to kind of play to your own strengths. Everybody has transversal skills. I happen to teach law school at Fordham Law School, and my students always ask me, how do I get into the fashion industry? How do I get my foot in the door? How can I be part of luxury? And I say to them, and by the way, it's a fashion law curriculum, so they're very focused on this. And I say to them, it doesn't matter. Your skills are transversal. Be the best employment lawyer you can be, and you can get in the door. There are employees that work at fashion companies. Be the best compliance lawyer you can be. I think, I'm also a testament to that journey as well. So think about this transversal skills that you have as part of your experience or that you're learning about, and apply them to the industry. Find ways to make connections. I find that the most successful people along my career journey that I've met, the most inspiring people, are able to make connections from some part of the business to another. And that ability to make connections and kind of have some foresight is very powerful.
And going back to the connections, you were speaking yesterday about the power of relationships.
Yes.
Latin American Fashion Summit is an example of those relationships, how important it is, how they take you through your journey in life. Tell us a little bit about that and how it has impact, having those great relationships impact your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So, number of years ago, when I was a baby lawyer, I had an amazing mentor, general counsel that I worked with, and I was probably pretty young. I was probably under 30, and we had a new creative director joining the company at the time, and I was working on the IP portfolio, the intellectual property portfolio. And I came to meet him, and I said, how are we going to work with the new design team, this, that, and the other. And he said to me, he's like, just take her out to lunch, take the creative director out to lunch. And I'm like, what? Why would the creative director of this publicly traded jewelry, multi-billion-dollar jewelry company want to have lunch with me? I couldn't even believe he was suggesting it. But what he was really suggesting was the power of relationships. He knew that as a lawyer, working with the design team, there might be friction. And there might be a disconnect. There might even be some hesitation to work with us. And so he already understood that going out to lunch with somebody, building a rapport, not necessarily even about business, but just talking human to human would help ease that friction. And it was one of the best lessons that I learned in my career.
That's very powerful. Now, let's go into leadership, because leadership in fashion requires balancing creativity with business strategy. And sometimes it's very challenging. You have to wear multiple hats, and it might be challenging. So what qualities do you believe are best and are essential for leaders who want to inspire innovation without losing sight of the brand identity?
Yeah, I think, creativity and sustainability and innovation all kind of go together. These are the sort of the tenets of our group and the cornerstones of why we believe we're successful as a group. We at Kering believe our mission is really to not be the largest, the biggest luxury group in the world. It's to be the most influential in terms of creativity, sustainability, and business performance. And all of those, that can be really a roadmap for any business, any small business. The spark of creativity comes from the product you make, the things that you design. Sustainability it seems like a huge ecosystem, but it can be a really small part of and meaningful part of what you do, the way you treat your people, the business partners that you work with, small women-owned businesses, businesses that need your support. All of those little connections can be part of your sustainability journey, and the business performance will follow.
Kering has an incredible legacy, but it's obvious that the group is more than just about profit. And we know that profit is very important, right? Without profit, without money, revenue, nothing can be done. But in the Kering's case, it's more about impact and purpose. Mm-hmm. Can you give us a sneak peek about how that takes place, how you can balance both as well?
Yeah. Well, so our founder and our current chairman and CEO realized many years ago that having a purpose-driven company was actually a path to commercial success. And through different learnings, over 15 years ago, François-Henri Pinault and Salma Hayek, his wife, formed the Kering Foundation. And that became sort of the cornerstone for the purpose behind the company. And the Kering Foundation is dedicated to combating gender-based violence, ending gender-based violence across really all ecosystems. We have trained over 40,000 professionals. We have partnered with over 100 organizations to support over 1 million survivors of domestic violence. And doing that good work is not necessarily connected to the business, but it fuels an engagement with our people and a connectivity with our people, especially because on that particular topic, 1 in 3 women are impacted by violence in their lifetime. So obviously we have women and men in our ecosystem that know people that have been impacted like this. And so it's very important to create that sort of engagement with the employee population and with our community on a topic that's so important.
And to that topic, you're so involved and such a champion of diversity and inclusion. And Kering has several employee resource groups like Somos that support Latinx, Hispanic employees and allies. Can you tell us how these groups foster a sense of belonging and contribute to the company's culture I mean, many of the entrepreneurs here, I'm sure, have small companies that they might be thinking, how can we make that happen in our own reality? But it can, right?
Yeah. So employee resource groups, we call them ERGs. They're incredibly important parts of our ecosystem. At Kering, diversity and inclusion is not a check-the-box exercise. It's really important and part of the core of what we do. The ERG communities that we have are ways for employees with shared identities to come together, to celebrate with one another, to learn from one another, but they're also opportunities for employees outside of those identity groups to understand and learn more about those groups, those individuals. And we provide a lot of interesting opportunities for employees to engage on arts and culture and cross-ERG collaborations. And really they're communities, smaller communities within our larger community that allow employees to connect and allow our senior leaders to connect with those employees and potentially provide paths for career development, mentorship, and movement within the group.
For many brands starting out, being sustainable, or the concept of sustainability can feel very overwhelming. And if you are advising a small fashion brand, what would it be? What can they do to be sustainable? Because they might be thinking all of these things that Kering is doing is based from a perspective of a big company.
Yeah.
But looking at a small brand, what would be your advice for them?
So sustainability is such a large ecosystem, right? It encompasses everything from the environment, people, human capital, so many different elements, diversity and inclusion. For small companies, I think, start small. Think about ways that if you're focusing on the most material aspects of the company, identify what those are, what's important, and begin to track your performance, consider your environmental footprint and the different suppliers that you work with, and also focus on your people. You can do small things with a small budget. You can do small things with a small team, and the ability to make a footprint or make your mark on sustainability, you can make really great strides with tiny, small impacts.
So Eva is in charge of all of the Americas, right? All of it. Like, she oversees the entire region, and it can be very, very challenging for many brands to make a decision on how to scale into new regions, into new markets, into countries. Like, many times you have to work with a department store, and another one might want exclusivity. So any success strategies that you recommend from your experience at managing such a big region and maintaining the legacy and spirit of every brand?
Yeah, so, our brands are big. They're big brands. They've been around for a long time. They've developed a legacy and a heritage over many, many decades. It's really different when you really shouldn't benchmark a small, newly founded company against a group like ours or against brands like ours. But we encounter similar issues. Eva and I were talking yesterday about the idea of exclusivity and radius restrictions preventing a brand from flexing or working with multiple partners in a particular territory. And while in our group, we absolutely deal with those same challenges, I can imagine that it is feels like an insurmountable hurdle for a small business. And you'll encounter those. And I think what we really talked about is this power of continuing to build relationships and not being dissuaded by those small misses. When you develop relationships with partners and they present a roadblock, you can talk about creative solutions to overcome them. I mean, the founders here and the designers here, you're all creatives, and I'm really passionate about this idea of being not just creative in product and design, but being creative in business. I say that because I've always been creative adjacent as a lawyer working for fashion companies, and I've always tried to foster within my team this idea that they can be creative. So I really am passionate about this idea of being creative in business, finding workarounds, explaining to partners that are putting up a roadblock or a radius restriction or an exclusivity restriction, and sharing your humanity and telling them, I am a small business, I am a women-owned business, or I'm a small founder, and I can't survive without multiple partnerships, so how can we make this happen? Figuring out maybe a capsule collection that you can sell to them instead of the whole collection, giving them exclusive product or exclusive access as opposed to nothing. And if all else fails, you leave with a smile and a handshake and a continued relationship, and I guarantee you eventually you'll circle back to that business.
Absolutely. Creating a team, putting a team together, it's also difficult. What do you look for when you hire? And by the way, I want to be hired as well. I love this guy. But can you imagine in the office, Eva? You know, who's who? I mean, they would tell me Eva, and she would be Eva. So it would be kind of fun. I mean, some of the team is here from Kering, and it's incredible to see the relationship you have with them.
Yeah.
So first of all, how have you built your team? What do you look for? I know you are big on women and also talent, but what do you look at when people come in and want to work for you?
Well, first of all, I would love to work with you, Ava, so we'll make that happen. I've never been interviewed by somebody with a shared name, so this is very fun and cool for me. But in terms of talent, I think I have a slightly unorthodox approach to talent in the fashion industry. Fashion tends to be very insular. We tend to hire from same places, same people, which is all great. I mean, it's amazing in and of itself that we can develop that type of community and ecosystem. But when I joined Kering, I had just kind of gotten over the hump of creating and designing a compliance team for Tiffany & Company, so I really had enjoyed that process quite a bit. And I had the incredible opportunity of building out the legal department there from scratch through some acquisitions and then a divestiture. There was no legal team in place. So I came in as a lawyer of a GC of one with the mandate to build out the team. And so my first thing was to observe and learn. I met with the executives at our brands and executives across corporate. I spent 2 months learning the business. By the way, 2 months is not even close to enough, just scratching the surface, tip of the iceberg. But I gave myself that time to really observe and listen and not make any judgment about what the company and group needed. And then I decided on my hiring path would be to identify talent that met that need. So I wasn't focused on hiring from within the fashion legal industry. I was focused on finding talent that would meet our organizational needs now and help flex into the future. So I found that I was kind of honing in on a very sort of well-defined profile. Somebody that was curious. Curiosity was really at the top of my list. Somebody that would thrive in an environment with a little bit of healthy chaos and ambiguity, so somebody that sort of had an entrepreneurial spirit and could really roll up their sleeves and figure out how to do things, how to not do things, and somebody that really enjoyed relationships. And those were sort of the cornerstones of my hiring. And in fact, the team that I built did not have a single lawyer that came from the fashion industry. They came from more entrepreneurial backgrounds, either M&A work, mergers and acquisition work, where they were working with small founders or VC-led companies, and folks that were just, hungry, agile, and ready to go.
Okay, ready to send a resume. And she's a mom of 4, okay? She does everything. And we're not going to get into that because we want her to come back next year. And then you can talk about more of that, how you make that everything happen. Lastly, luxury, leadership, legacy. They're powerful words, but not just buzzwords, because we use them very randomly, and they take a powerful meaning when applied to the next generation. And I know we're young, but in that aspect, how do you look at the future of fashion and your impact in the business? And what do you want to leave behind? What is Eva's legacy for the future?
That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, I think legacy is so important in the luxury industry, but in fashion in general too. You're making product, it's tangible, you're leaving a mark. Our houses have grown over decades and even over the course of a century for one of them. So these are, Rome wasn't built in a day. These are organizations, these are feelings and emotions that are tied to these brands that have been built over a very long period of time. Legacy now, I think, means something so different, and every generation brings in, new change, new ways of looking at things. Legacy now is very different because we're seeing it through the lens of social media and digitization, and so there is even a greater degree of permanence to what we are doing. and I think a greater audience to see what we're doing. So it's even more important. There are lot more eyeballs on what we're accomplishing as business people and what we're giving back to the world. So for me, my legacy, I really want this to be, for me, around empowering women. You know, Ava mentioned that I'm a mom of 4. It's a very important part of my life. I always share it. I never sort of gatekeep that from my team or from the people that I work with or the people that I meet. So empowering women and creating a better place than, leaving a better place than where I came in is really how I'd like to leave my mark, and inspiring young people to do the same and to be their best selves. One of the most enjoyable things that I do in my job and across my career is mentor and meet young people, and I'm inspired by their enthusiasm and their desire to do good. And I think that through sort of the collective intelligence that we have and the collective spirit, we can do a lot more than single people.
Now we know why she's beloved by her team, right? So she's an inspiring leader, someone that we can follow up to and imagine ourselves one day having a big company and being Eva with her amazing team and her passion for purpose and legacy. Eva, thank you so much for inspiring us.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Okay, we're done. It's a wrap. Oh, questions. Oh, now we do the questions, or you? Okay, questions. Sorry, I was ready to jump off the stage too fast.
Hi there. Eva, thank you. Thank you both. This is amazing. My question is, does Kering offer an incubator, accelerator for future entrepreneurs or to help mentor?
So we don't have an official sort of incubator program, but we have lots of programs largely at the group level to inspire young talent. We have an annual, I believe it's annual now, hackathon for young tech innovators, and we invite students and small founders to come and pitch new interesting digital ideas, and that's a way to kind of connect with the company. And we have different ways to connect with the company from a talent pipeline perspective. We partner with a lot of academic institutions to provide opportunities, internships, and exposure to the company, and we're always open to more.
And how do we access that?
On Kering.com and on Kering Careers website, you can find more information, and you can always contact me, and I'll put you in touch with people.
Okay, done deal.
One more question.
Thank you, Eva and Eva. Being here says a lot about caring for the region. How does Kering look into having more presence in Latin America?
That's a great question. So I should note that Kering's Latinx and Hispanic community makes up nearly 30% of our employee population. We're really proud of that. Right? And I am particularly proud to be overseeing the region. We have a presence in Mexico, Brazil, Panama, Chile, Aruba, Dominican Republic. We're starting in Colombia. We are all over the map. And we still consider the Latin American sub-market, the diaspora, a developing market, which is amazing because that means opportunity. When there's oversaturation, there's no more. And Latin America represents an amazing opportunity for us. So the question of how do we see it as a growing area. And we continue to open new stores. We have corporate offices, actually 2 corporate offices in Latin America, one in Mexico and one in Brazil. And that's a testament to how important the region is. There's no other place in the Americas with 2 offices. So you can see we're happy to and very excited to invest.
We have time for one more question.
First of all, thank you. And I love that you put sustainability at the core of leadership, as well as all the tools you've put out, because I personally use it and use you as a case study, so thank you.
That's great.
How do you see luxury and sustainability going hand in hand, and what role does storytelling also play part in that?
Yeah, so I think luxury and sustainability have to go hand in hand. I mean, the fashion industry is the least sustainable industry. And we all need to do our part. And actually, our founder and now chairman, François-Henri Pinault, is very, very dedicated to ensuring that the ecosystem, the environmental ecosystem from which we take, is preserved and can be regenerative, and because otherwise we won't have an industry. If we deplete all of the resources that we have, we don't have anything else to work with. So we do a lot of things in terms of tracking our impact on our environments, working with sustainable suppliers, tracing our sustainability. That's the first and foremost, first thing that we can actually do, understand what our impact is, and take steps to limit that impact. And that may mean that we don't use all the same materials that we use. I mean, we're investing in technology, exploring innovative materials, mushroom leather, bovine, lab-grown bovine cells, different things so that we can understand what's at the forefront of new material technology so that we can maybe pivot at certain points in time. So it's a constant evolution. I think sustainability and innovation go together in order to know what's next and how not to deplete the environments or deplete the people that work with you and for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now it's a wrap. Gracias.
Thank you.
Please don't leave. Next session will start shortly.